High Desert Smoke, Yucca Valley, California, 57268, 29 Palms Highway, Yucca Valley, California 92284, California. That's who this video is brought to you by. Also, Gatorade Blue Flavor, unofficial sponsor, not a sponsor at all. Today we're doing a review, and then tomorrow we're going to be doing a review, and then the day after that, and then the day after that, and 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 that's because we've got like 14 flavors to review, all coming from a good new friend of mine, Rami, fan of the channel, fan of the community. He watches the podcast too, go check that out if you haven't. There's going to be a few different brands and flavors we're going to be reviewing. Today's we're going to start with some Azure Dark. Let's start with a note on Azure Dark. They package it like this. I know a lot of you are going to be pretty familiar with Azure Dark, and maybe you already know what's going on with this brand as far as the packaging goes, but I have two containers here, and it's because with Azure Dark I have had to take it out of this package and put it into this package because it is extremely messy and inconvenient to get the tobacco out of here and into your bowl. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Their package isn't perfect. They've got the same problem that Fumari does. A lot of these brands who bag their tobacco, I'm not a big fan of this method. It doesn't really affect how the tobacco itself performs, but anyone who thinks that like you shouldn't judge tobacco based on its packaging, I would implore you to go out and like look at all the different brands of tobacco that are at the top of the market right now and understand that like for all of us enthusiasts, it's actually a factor, the packaging of your tobacco, because I don't ever wash my hands because that's disgusting. That said, rant over, Unicorn, Azure, Black Lime. Let's check this flavor out as usual. Scent, flavor, clouds, varying factors. Pack method, I'll tell you a little bit about at the end. It's not recorded yet, but I'll tell you how I pack this. And as usual, let's just get right into cracking this open and smelling it. Before I give you my notes on the scent, it is an Alpaca Apache Medium Provost on top, 3 Prestige Cocoa Jumbo Flat, sponsor of the AIM Hookah podcast, and the White Matte Pear. Let's smell this. Okay, story time. When I first smelled Unicorn, I thought, oh man, we're getting a candy flavor. And I'm not a big fan of candy flavors. This is very sweet. It's definitely got a mint scent to it. And I smoked it a few times and wasn't really able to nail down exactly what it was. And then it was spoiled to me over on the AM Hookah podcast that Unicorn is supposed to be spearmint with another flavor that we'll get into. But as soon as they said spearmint, it totally changed the way that it smelled when I actually smelled and checked out the scent profile of this tobacco. So what I get now is going to be kind of like a spearmint and a little bit of a vague melon flavor. But initially what I got when I smelled this tobacco was like this minty, chalky candy, almost like a Smarties. Very different flavors. I think it's a context thing. That said, that's what it smells like. That's not much to go off of, especially with these dark flavors from Azure, as you will see as we go on with this review series for Rami from High Desert Smoke, Yucca Valley, California, and Gatorade Blue Drink. Let's check out the clouds that this stuff can produce. Okay, so this clouds look pretty good, right? I'm a little sick right now. I'm having trouble taking full pulls and it's still warming up. So even though these clouds I think look pretty good, you can actually expect better clouds from Azure's Dark line. I know that's kind of crazy to say. These clouds are pretty good. They don't always translate very well on camera. I actually have to use my CGI machine when they look bad and edit them in post, but we don't have to do that today. And as usual, when I go to the flavor cut, the clouds that I blow then will probably be better. But you can expect good clouds from Azure. I'm buzzing a little bit, more on that later. But the clouds, sweet. Let's move on. Enunciate your words, Adrian. Move on to the flavor take, which we always do on both the inhale and the exhale, because I find that when you go over the flavor profile on both the inhale and exhale, you can more accurately represent the flavor that we are trying to review for all of you nice people wasting your time on these 10-minute videos on YouTube. Let's start with the inhale. Okay, points time. Azure, as a brand, hold for a few select flavors, which I will be reviewing in the next few days. Does an awesome job at taking the scent of the tobacco and representing it in the flavor of the tobacco. And the inhale tastes exactly like what you'd expect it to taste like from the scent of the tobacco. It is this vaguely melon, but very spearmint forward flavor. The mint is very sweet. It is a sweet flavor. I would almost qualify this as a candy flavor, but this is one of those rare candy flavors that I really like because of the amount of complexity. It's not a complex flavor necessarily, but it's just complex enough where it intrigues your palate just a little bit, which a lot of candy flavors just don't. Matt doesn't. But yeah, the flavor, there's really not a lot to say about it. I think we've spelled it out in the scent pretty well. Inhale, spearmint forward, a little bit of melon. If I had to say what kind of melon it was, I'd say it's like a mix between honeydew and cantaloupe, but maybe my palate needs more training on melon flavors. I'm not a melon smoker typically. One of my favorite melon flavors is actually Adalia, is that how you pronounce it? Adalia, whatever. They have this flavor called double melon. It's very good. Let's move on to the exhale and see if anything changes. As usual with mint flavors, the mint on the exhale dies down just a little bit, leaving more room for that melon flavor. I did say that when I initially smelled the stuff with no clue what was in the flavor, because Unicorn doesn't tell you what it's supposed to taste like unless it tastes like unicorn, in which case we need to call the police. But candy, Smarties, kind of a chalky candy flavor, definitely comes out on the exhale. And I think it's just because the melon isn't necessarily 100% natural. It's a very nice flavor. It lends itself to the candy genre of flavors, but it's definitely a candied melon flavor. The spearmint dies down a little bit. That's what you're really going to expect with this Azure Unicorn. Other things about Azure. Let's start with the pack method. I don't have a video prepared because I'm going to go over the pack method that I use for Azure, as well as the alternative pack method, which is much more user-friendly. I use the Paul Silo chopstick packing method. If you don't know what that means, I'll show you in the next video of Azure probably, and I'm probably going to do a standalone video after this whole series of the High Desert Smoke Yucca Valley, California, and Blue Flavor Gatorade sponsored videos. As soon as those are over, that's not actually a sponsor, that might actually not be. I'm going to be breaking the law. As soon as those are over, I'm going to do some pack methods for you guys. But I would pack it at what we call a semi-dense pack, which is this vague pack term coined by the community. And basically, if you know how to pack Tangiers, you just take it a level down in the density department. Instead of really packing it in there until just before the juices start to come up to the surface of the tobacco, what you want to do is get it in there at a density where there's no real visible air gaps between the tobacco leaves themselves, but there's also a little bit of breathing room between the leaves. And you can see that because there's kind of this almost I don't want to say marbled, but there's a texture to it. There's a texture difference between a dense pack and a semi-dense pack. And I will go over that in the future if any of you don't know what that is. And this channel is geared towards intermediate and beginner smokers, so we will do our best to educate you. Head buzz. Yes, I am susceptible to head buzzes from time to time. I no longer really get a huge head buzz from Tangiers. I do get somewhat of a head buzz at the beginning of a session, but not so much anymore. This tobacco is a true dark leaf. All of the Azure tobaccos we're going to go over in this series are from their black line, which is a true dark leaf, using molasses and glycerin as the binding agent. By the way, this is an American company for anyone who did not know. I've covered Azure in the past in my Azure First Impression series, and I was very impressed with their blonde line, so we'll be talking about that more in the future as well. But it's stellar. The head buzz is perfect. It's not overwhelming, but it's just enough to make you go oh, I'm smoking and something's happening, if that's what you're looking for. Now, as far as how it takes heat, if you don't pack this stuff correctly, it's going to punish your lungs. I would not try to fluff this stuff, and you can get away with Tangiers densing it, but one thing that was brought to my attention, actually, my good buddy from over at Dude Where's My Hookah, another reviewer, a good guy, his name's Rob, he said, I pity the fool who packs Azure Dark like Tangiers. And I kind of get where he's going, because you don't really get performance loss, you get flavor loss. Because this tobacco really wants to breathe. Because these tobaccos that are made by Azure, especially in the dark line, lend themselves to highly saturated flavor profiles. And because of this, you really want to let that tobacco breathe and not kind of neuter your session by not allowing air to get all the way through the tobacco as your session goes on. Moving on, how long does it burn for? it's a long-lasting dark leaf. This bowl right here, I can probably get a solid 2 hour, 2 rounds of Prestige Cocoa Jumbo Flats. Easy, no flavor loss, it's stellar. I cannot sing the praises of Azure Dark any more than I already have. Let's rate this stuff. I'm giving it a solid 6 out of 7. The only reason it's not going to a 7 out of 7 is because it's not my cup of tea when it comes to the flavor profiles that I enjoy. It is candied, but it is one of the best candied flavors I have ever had. The spearmint is well represented, and it checks all of the boxes when you're kind of looking like, is this a good tobacco? Longevity, heat tolerance, flavor saturation, all those things are perfect for this Azure flavor. You know, if you're watching this before, what's it going to be, 7:30 Eastern time, and then if you live in Mountain Standard or Central or all the way over on the West Coast, I hope you know your time zones because I'm not going to go over that. But if you are watching before that time, tonight, the AM Hookah podcast is going live. We're going live with Jeremy Bird from over at Hookah University. And if you watched the podcast first, because you're one of our live viewers, we have a big live viewership over there. A lot of people come and watch us for some reason, and we love you guys. Thank you for watching it, and thank you for listening to us shill about our own personal reviews. That said, that's going to be the first episode for the High Desert Smoke videos from over at my good buddy Rami's smoke shop. Rami, thank you so much for sending this stuff. It's awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. More coming real shortly. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, happy smoking.